Hi, everybody. Welcome back to RVAsec 2024, RVAsec 13 for insiders. My next guest, Mr. Aqeel Yaseen. He's with Bastion.net. Aqeel, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Today's topic is mindfulness, meditation, and cybersecurity. We talked briefly before the show. I get this title. We can have all the technical things we want, but if we don't have the human component, if we aren't thinking like this, if we aren't living it, we might not succeed. So tell us about your lecture you're giving on this at the conference.
Thanks for the intro. So this is a discussion, but also a participatory experience about how to cultivate a practice of mindfulness, meditation in the context of cybersecurity. Because as we all know, it's a pretty stressful job. And as you said, Chuck, without humans in the mix, this isn't really an industry. All of our lives, and especially in what we're doing in cybersecurity, is based on relationships. So this talk is really geared at basically anybody, wherever they are, if they're just getting into the field, or if they've been in it a long time, whether in a leadership position, or just sort of like me, like a grunt. This is a topic that would be useful for you. So I'm hopeful that I can share some of the experiences that I've had in teaching mindfulness and meditation for almost 15 years. In this context, because I think it's really valuable.
I think it's valuable too. I'll tell you, when I was a police officer, I had a chief, Ted Cook, Culver City. He came in a briefing one day and he started laying into one of the guys who got all excited on the radio because there was a robbery. And he's on the radio, he's screaming, we can't hear him, we don't know where he is, it's a bank robbery. And the chief said, how many times have you gone on a bank robbery call? Hundreds. What's the big deal? Calm down. Chill, center yourself so we can hear you, focus, right? And I think about this, about your comments you just made about how stressful this job is. I don't think it has to be. I think if you can center yourself on this with your mindfulness and understand the important thing you're doing, you're literally saving humanity if you're in cybersecurity, literally, because it's all coming. I mean, the doomsday is coming eventually, right? That's a very important role, and you should feel good about that. You should feel good about helping people with that. Tell us a little more about the presentation and how you're gonna get this message across to people, because it's not a common thing to talk about in security. In security, we all want to be tough and strong and get the bad guy, but you know what? You gotta have a feng shui.
Totally. So the talk itself will just be sort of a brief overview of what mindfulness practice is. Essentially, the way that I explain this is that really all you're doing is cultivating attention. You're putting your attention on what you want to put your attention on. And that's a skill. We all have to learn it. I don't think there's anybody that naturally understands how to pay attention. And in the context of the work that we do, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of consequences for not paying attention. So if we can cultivate a practice of doing this where it's not necessarily a stressful thing, where we're just looking for what we want to look for within ourselves, then we can apply that in every aspect of our life. So I'll talk about how to actually go about cultivating a practice, but also some of the other things that I found that are also really important in terms of how to relate to people and the things around us. Because as I said, almost all of life is really relationships. And so being able to pay attention in the context of that helps us to understand how we're showing up, and therefore what the consequences are of the decisions we're making if we are aware of the decisions we're making. Because even if we're not aware of it, we're always making decisions. So I will help people understand this from a higher level perspective, but then also I'll give people the opportunity to actually practice. Because I think we can talk all day about this, but if you don't actually have the embodied experience of it, it's not really that valuable.
I like what I'm hearing. I'm going to describe this. The absence of mindfulness and meditation is complacency, maybe, right? So you get a lot of complacency in security and police work where you're like, whatever, I'm not going to do my traffic stop properly. I'm just going to push the button and notice the alarm. It's somebody else's problem to respond to a cyber alarm. And you just kind of get in the groove and you just you tune out, right? And I think that is part of a danger we have is if we're complacent in these high level positions of importance, we run the risk of extreme human error, right? For lack of a better term, just for not doing your job, really.
Absolutely. And my job now is to exploit those vulnerabilities. So when someone does make a mistake or there's a misconfiguration, that's what I look for. I look to see how can I utilize that the same way that a threat actor would to actually do something that I'm not supposed to be able to do. So in teaching people how to cultivate mindfulness, I'm essentially making my own job harder, which is good. And it also makes the job of a threat actor really more difficult because, as you said, when people aren't paying attention, they tend to make mistakes. They tend to overlook things. And, there's a saying, I think it comes from one military branch, that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And I really take that to heart because if you are rushing, if you're responding to an incident and you're not actually paying attention, you can easily make mistakes and leave another backdoor for someone to get in. Or you can try to clean up something, but then you miss stuff. So I think that often what happens is if we're in a hurry, we don't make decisions in a way that helps us understand the long-term consequences. And as you said, there are long-term consequences to not paying attention.
100% correct. I think about when I was in security at Fox at Disney, police work. I'm not worried about the guy yelling and screaming at me, Aqeel. I could care less about that guy. I know what he's about. It's a guy that walks in nice and cool and calm and just sits there. That's the guy you got to worry about, right? That's the cool guy that's cool and smooth. And that is where we need to be defenders. And if you're a good defender, a defense, it's actually an offense in some way, right? That's come another way to think about it. Excellent. I wish I could be there. I'm going to talk to Jake, see if he's recording, because I want to get a copy and see what's this about. Really interesting. I won't be making in person, but good luck to you. Mindfulness, meditation, and cybersecurity. Aqeel Yaseen. He's with bluebastion.net. Good luck to you, my friend. Good talking to you.
Thanks so much, Chuck. I'm looking forward to it.